Hello, Monsters Abound here, and welcome to Distant Worlds 2. Now, I did a video about Distant Worlds 2 about a month ago, I think, and the game has since come out. This is a Space 4X game. It's developed by like 2 people. I think they've had some assistance with the art and stuff, but basically the game is development company is about 2 people. And already there's been like 2 patches. There's a few crashes. I had a couple of crashes early on. But there's already been 2 patches. I think the game's been out like 5 days. And the second patch came out today. And I'm recording this on Sunday. And the patch came out earlier today. So they're hitting these bugs pretty hard. So I think that's a really good sign for any issues getting fixed. So I'm highly hopeful. I'm in the Discord. A few people have made comments about like some of the automation in the game being off, maybe some things being unbalanced. So we'll see how it goes. I do think it's one of those games with there's so much going on in this that I'm not surprised at some unbalanced things. I'm hoping it's not too bad, but as I say, because they're really hitting hard the crashes at the moment. I think soon they'll move on to try and sanding off some of those rough edges. I hope. I really like this game. It's one of those games where you play it and you keep thinking, when you're not playing it, you're thinking about it. Like what your next move could be. That kind of thing. So I'm actually going to play a little campaign. I say little campaign. I'm going to play a campaign of this. I don't know how often the videos come out. Maybe once every couple of days, something like that. Anyway, we're going to start a new game. The galaxy setup is quite intricate. So we're going to play a dual ring dense center. We're going to go with 1,000 stars. And normal nebula density. Nebulas are basically sort of like these little blobs here. They create terrain in space effectively, so you can't travel through them. You have to travel around them. The galaxy size, we're going to make 10 by 10 sectors. That's going to make quite a large galaxy, but with a medium amount of stars. I mean, we could go 2,000, but that's quite a lot. So I'm just going to 1,000. So we get a little bit of space between the stars. I think that works out quite nicely. And galaxy expansion, we're going to start pre-warp, which means basically we don't have warp technology when we start the game. So when we start the game, effectively we have no faster than light travel. Tech level, we're going to start pre-warp. Galaxy aggression is going to be restless. We're going to go difficulty hard because I'm not that au fait with the game yet. I might have to beef it up later on, but we're going to start with hard for the moment. Research speed, we're going to go normal. And research is going to be random and only next projects visible. And we're going to... I'm going to keep tech trading on. That might not be the best idea, but we'll keep it on for the moment. Pirates, I've dropped that down to few because they can be quite annoying early on. Pirate strength is going to be normal. Pirate proximity is going to be average. Pirate respawn, no, they're going to stay dead. I don't care about that. And space creatures, we're only going to have a few of those because they can get a little bit overpowering sometimes. Colony prevalence is going to be normal. Independent colonies is going to be normal. Colony influence range colonizer, we're going to beef that up a little bit because we're on quite a large... galaxy, so I think that's in fact I might beef it up a little bit more just because we're obviously on the largest galaxy size with not that many stars, so I think we're going to do that. Race wise, now there are 7 races currently in the game and each one is different as you'd expect. They have different personalities, different ship sets as well, and I believe like their ships have different, so some ships maybe have more engine slots and some have weapons and stuff. It doesn't necessarily say that, and it's just what I've read in the Discord. I don't know for sure, but I think what we're gonna do now we've got sort of like these sort of research fish people. There's evil insects, racist frogs, pink things, military lizards, trade rats, nerd cats. I'm going to play racist frogs. I think that's what we're going to do. So the Haakonish are a bipedal reptilian race. They have broad flat heads with prominent protrusions on each side. The protrusions are nasal cavities that provide the Haakonish with an unrivaled sense of smell. Haakonish have a very poor eyesight, but compensate for this with their excellent sense of smell and taste. They are intelligent and quite aggressive. Haakonish are highly pretentious. They also have a strong sense of their own racial superiority. Thus, they do not enjoy the company of other races and have a tendency to be xenophobic. Haakonish are naturally drawn towards intricate technology. They take great pride in designing and building equipment with many advanced features, even if some of those features are unnecessary or superfluous. The natural miserliness of the Haakonish has led them to develop the high-density fuel cell, a high-capacity fuel tank that gives Haakonish starships longer range and endurance. And they typically live in marsh, mangrove forests, that kind of thing. So their personality is a quite aggressive. Now this only really sort of works for the AI, I believe. Although the migration tendency, reproduction rate, and assimilation rate does sort of work on. So like their reproduction rate, that's how fast they reproduce. Assimilation rate, if you try and conquer a Haakonish planet, that's how fast they will assimilate. So not very. And the type of planets they like to live on. So they don't like sandy desert, ice, or rocky deserts. And their bonuses for tech, they like engine, counter-espionage, hyperdrive, hyperjump, space, ship energy savings. They get less diplomacy, but an increase in war weariness. And their feelings toward other races, they tend to not like everyone, but it's not overly too bad. They preferred governments are feudalism or mercantile guild. And they have a bunch of allowed governments there. And their default infantry is sort of above average. I think they're better than humans. No, back, not humans. Ugh, gross. Yeah, so humans are 120. So the Haakonish are better than everyone except the Boscara and the Mortalan by base. But obviously, you know, technology will increase that. And you can get different things other than infantry as well. You can get tanks and titans and shit like that. So obviously if you're that, then the defense and attack will be slightly different. But their bog standard infantry is always going to be that strong. So we're going to go with Haakonish. I'm going to stick with this flag. You know what? I'm going to go with this flag, I think. And I think I'm going to... I kind of want to go Mercantile Guild, I think. Let's do that. And I'm going to call this MA Inc. MA Incorporated. There we go. Mercantile guild governments are highly focused towards commerce, trade, and industry. The ruling structures are often loose and informal. A collection of leading members of the business community make key decisions that affect all citizens. Mercantile guilds generally allow a high degree of freedom and autonomy to their citizens. Basic rights and liberties are guaranteed by a simple set of laws that apply to many situations. Entrepreneurial activity is very common, creating a dynamic business environment where high levels of wealth are generated quickly. So we get bonus to colony income, trade income, facility, maintenance savings, ship maintenance savings, mining. Construction, research, and diplomacy, but we get reductions in counter-espionage, colony happiness, and colony corruption reduction, which is a bit of a problem, but we're going to go with that. I want to start in the outer ring, and home system is we're going to make that agreeable. Expansion is starting, tech level is pre-warp, that all looks good to me. And then for AIs, what I've done here is a lot of them are just starting. However, we have a couple that are expanding. So they're going to have a couple of planets under their belt, but I've made them distant. And then we've had a couple of mature that are very distant. The idea being is that I kind of want these to be an endgame threat, these guys. That's the dream anyway. That's what I kind of want. That's what I'd like. But we'll see how this plays out. Victory conditions, I'm just going to leave default. That'll be fine. And here we are. Averil Levine is our homeworld. And on our homeworld, Averil Levine, we have found some Haakonish city ruins. And we've made a curious discovery. At long last, we have developed the technology to explore beyond our planet thanks to the excavation of the ancient Haakonish ruins on our homeworld. The ingenuity of our forebears now belongs to us. These ruins contain records of a great betrayal and indicate that this planet was attacked from space long ago. This corroborates the oldest legends of our people, which speak of a terrible creatures who came from the sky to steal our wealth, enslave our soldiers, and even devour our children. God damn our delicious children. We now know there is at least a seed of truth at the heart of these legends, and so, as we venture into the unknown, we must remain vigilant, wise, and suspicious. As the proverb tells us, trust is for the foolish, and wealth is for the taking. We cannot know what we will find as we travel beyond this world, but we can dream of new worlds to plunder, vast riches to gather, and lesser beings to exploit. What we have discovered about our ancestors and what we have accomplished ourselves erases all doubt about the superiority of the Haakonish. Even so, we must beware of ancient enemies. If we are true to our nature and seek to gain much while risking little, the greatness surely awaits us. We will reinvest what makes us Haakonish and earn back the glories of our past. So we have found early warp experiments. We have found research labs. We've also got some bonuses here. So we've got colony bonus, 6% to colony development and 4% scenery. That's absolute garbage. I'm not going to lie. These bonuses are random at the start of every game, and that is absolute trash. So really good start there. Really, really good. And already we have created a ship. This here is the Bountiful Merchant, an EX-1 Traveller, which is, if we have a look at our ship designs here, we will find that the EX-1 Traveller is in fact our exploration ship. We can have a look at our exploration ship there. There he is. And that we can see the bits that basically make up our exploration ship. Now, the thing about Distant Worlds is that your ship design is very important. So our explorer ship here does have some weapons, but it's not really a fighter, to be honest. You can actually see, if I hover over there, you can actually see the weapons are positioned on the ship. And you can see all this information here is information based on what the ship can do. So we can see its size, its hull size, its crew capacity, its build cost, its maintenance saving, the rating for the ship, its energy requirements, because all ships require fuel, and fuel generates energy. If a ship runs out of fuel, it ain't moving anywhere, and it ain't shooting anything. We can see sort of how much energy it draws. So particularly, what's that? Does it mean static? God knows. I have no idea what that means. It's just numbers, and that's fine. And its fuel type and its capacity, and reacts to generate 428.6 energy per unit of fuel. So you could probably work out stuff. Movement as well. So we know the ship has 3 ion engines. Now, if it's in combat, components can be damaged or destroyed. If it loses, say, one of its ion engines, it's going to move slower, because it no longer has the engines to drive it. Now currently this ship has no fast and light drive, but if the fast and light drive is damaged or destroyed, it'll take longer to spool up, the ship will travel slower, or if it's destroyed, the ship won't now be able to jump to warp, and it will be able to be destroyed and picked off. You've also got things like turn rate, acceleration, that's based on the engine types you have, weapons, they have ranges and all that kind of stuff, defense. I mean, there's so much information based on just this one ship, and also the resources required to build it. And this is quite important, because resources are everything in Distant Worlds 2. Now, if we have a look at our planet, we can see we've got some resources already here. We've got some Elosian Jade, some Obrobian Amber, some Carbonite, and one we haven't found yet. Now, the Jade and the Amber are luxury goods, and the Carbonite is sort of a general resource. General resources are used to build ships. So when we had a look at our ship there, we could see how many resources it would take. All those resources we need shipped to this planet. And already we have some stockpile of resources here. Where do I see that? Is it resources? Somewhere? There's something you can click. We can actually see the amount of resources on this planet. We will have... there we go. So already we will have some resources on this planet. And we can use those to build stuff. But we won't be accumulating. You can see that we have a red mining pick there. That means we're mining carbonite on this planet. However, we don't have sources of the rest. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go off into the solar system. We're going to have to survey these planets, and we're going to have to find these resources. And then we're going to have to build mining stations on them. Now, once we've done that, that doesn't give us access to those resources. All that does is mean those mining stations are going to start accumulating the resources that are based on the planets that they're around. We need freighters at that point. Freighters are going to go to those mining stations, they're going to pick up those resources and bring them back. The freighters are part of the private economy. We do not control them, we do not build them. However, they are integral to our empire. Because without those freighters bringing us resources, we ain't doing anything. So keeping them safe, keeping those mining stations safe is pretty imperative. The private economy in your empire has its own basic economy. You get paid out of that economy. If your private economy goes bankrupt, then you're in a lot of trouble, basically. So that's our first ship there. The Bountiful Merchant will be setting off to go and, I don't know, go places no frog has ever been, and probably be racist about it. Now, currently, our ships are not going to be moving very fast because we have no faster than light travel. To get to Etronaut, the closest planetary body to our homeworld, is going to take at least, I want to say, about 5 minutes. To get to sort of like the next planet rather than moon in our solar system is going to take at least 30 minutes. That's quite a long time. Obviously, we don't want to be sat here waiting 30 minutes for us to go and survey. No, instead, what we do, we're already researching early warp drive experiments. And as soon as that's researched, we can retrofit our ships to have those skip drives, and they will suddenly move a lot faster. What we're going to do is we're actually going to build a small starbase around our homeworld there, Avril Lavigne. So we've got the Avril spaceport. That'll be being constructed now. It looks kind of like this weird texture, but that's because it's being constructed. As you can see, that's what it looks like underneath it. And as the station gets built, it will slowly turn to its normal green color, or whatever color a space station should be. So there we go. The Bountiful Merchant is now on its way. It's traveling to survey Verdanath 8, which is this big old gas giant over here. And as you can see, it's not moving very fast. In fact, it barely looks like it's moving at all. It is, trust me. It's just, it's doing its best, to be brutally honest. What we're going to do is we're going to say, you know what, mate, don't worry about it. Just travel over here. You can see how fast it's going. It's not very fast, and unfortunately, it can't do much better than that. So we're going to get him over here, because as soon as we finished researching the early warp field experiments, we'll retrofit the Bountiful Merchant, and that will then be able to jump a little bit further. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. Research-wise, we can see the... Now, you can... At the start of the game, we said we didn't want to see all of the text. You can, of course, change that so you can see all of them. We have a randomized tech layout. I believe that means we can get all the text, but they might have, like, a randomized path to get them. So just because we research penetrating scanners doesn't mean we're going to get the next one. We may need to be researching improved scanners to get our next one, along with penetrating scanners, and it won't show up until we've researched both. Something like that. I think we can also steal text from anyone else anyway. There are some racial technologies. So, for example, the Haakonish have this extended gravitic weapons, and we also have the... Where is it? Yes, compressed fuel storage here. So this is actually going to give us a lot more fuel. Obviously, we need to carry fuel, and this is going to give us 150 capacity compared to 110. The base one is 100. So that's really good. It's a big bonus. Nice big fuel cells. Look, I like big fuel cells, and I cannot lie. Now, the other thing is we have some leaders. Says our characters. So Uddy Paklidu is our leader. So he has facility, construction speed, and civilianship. Now these skills will increase over time. He will also gain some traits. Now currently he doesn't have any. And we also have a general here. He can obviously lead our ground troops, and he currently doesn't have any skills. We also have some spies. So here is Udi Quendo, and Udi Quendo does not have any skills as of yet. Spies could be sent to steal territory maps or technology or blow up shit. They can do all kinds of fun stuff. So that's all good. So until we've researched early warp field experiments, there's not really much to do. So we're going to increase the speed here, and I'm going to jump to the point where we have actually researched that technology. Okay, we've almost researched hyperdrive. There we go. We have finished researching it. So using the ancient knowledge recovered in our earlier exploration, we have developed our first Primitive hyperdrive. This breakthrough technology allows our starships to travel faster than light. Now, the first rank of hyperdrive will let us, it's called the skip drive, and it lets us jump in between, basically lets us jump in our solar system. We can't jump out of it, but we can jump around inside of it. I could research the next one, but first what we're going to do is research research labs, because that's going to increase our research in general. And then I'm going to get the stable warp fields. Then I'm going to get advanced nuclear fission, because this will upgrade our reactors. So currently we have space reactors, basic space reactor, and you can see fuel to energy ratio, we get 2.333 for every, or rather we spend 2.3 fuel for every 1,000 energy, whereas this one is 1.9 for every 1,000. So basically it's significantly more efficient than our current one, which means that we can move further. Next, we're then going to get the compressed fuel storage. I'm tempted to then get the storage systems, because that gives us the extra cargo bay, which would be quite nice. Currently our cargo capacity is 800, but if we upgrade that as 1,100, that is a lot better. But we're going to leave it at that for the moment. I'm just going to move these. Nope, I'm going to move these technologies above the early energy deflectors, because we're not going to need them just yet. Right, so we're going to do that. So what we're then going to do is we're going to set the Bountiful Merchant to fully automate. A lot of things in Distant Worlds 2 can be automated. So, for example, if we build some more explorations, we get like 4 exploration ships, maybe a couple of construction ships, or purchase those. That will then be put into the build order for Avril Lavigne Spaceport. Now, so automation. Already, some things on our planet are automated. So, for example, our tax rate is automated. We can turn these things off if we want to in the policy settings. There's a lot of automation. You can also do it so that, for example, if we come across any abandoned ships or bases, the advisor will suggest that we go and repair them. Now, what that'll do is it'll create a little notification here, and it'll say, hey, there's this station here. We should send someone to repair it. Do you want to, or do you not? If you say no, that notification then disappears. If you say yes, then a ship will be sent to go and do that. So basically it provides the prompt of, do you want to go and do this? A lot of our characters will be automated. I like to leave spies automated, but I'll probably turn off. So for example, we have a spy here, not scientist, sorry. I'll probably leave him manual, because I'm not that invested. Or rather, I think he should just stay there for the moment. If I want to move him, I can. I don't have to. Our leader will pretty much always stay at our home world. He is now an industrialist and an engineer, which increases his mining rate. However, does decrease our population growth. That's not a huge problem. He's also an engineer, so we get additional research and construction speed, which is very nice. So far, so good. Our general just has ground defense strength. That's fine. And our spy, I don't think you get the spies when they're left on counterintelligence. They don't actually gain skills, I don't think, but I could be wrong. Anyway, so Bountiful Traveller, can you retrofit to the next? Do that first, you stupid bugger. Meanwhile, we have additional exploration ships being constructed, and once they're constructed, they should then be able to jump, because we have, if we have a look at our ship designs, all this is automatic. So the auto design and retrofit is automatic, which means these ships will update themselves and retrofit themselves automatically once technology becomes available. So if you research a new weapon and it's better than what the ship design currently has, the design will update and the ship will then be sent to retrofit itself. Basically, you don't have to worry about it. But there we go. Our first hyper jump has been completed. And if we dismiss that, we should send... Yeah, you can just see that ship just shoot off there. And he has arrived at... the late beggar has arrived at Verdeneth 8 a lot faster than he would have done otherwise. Now, you are retrofitting. I can put you to fully automate. You'll finish retrofitting and then you'll go and do your thing, which is fine. What I'm also going to do is that I'm going to build a If we go maybe a couple more exploration ships, something like that. There we go. Right, we've discovered resources on Verdaneth 8. So we've got Caslon, Argon, and Krypton. Now, Caslon is fuel, basically. It's like finding oil. As you can imagine, that's quite important. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for a second, and then we should find that Verdaneth 8 pops up. There he is. So we can see Caslon there is has a little red box around it, and that's because that's a required resource. We need that. So what we can do is we can click this little button here, and that will create a queue for a mining station to be constructed at that planet. So we should have a construction ship somewhere. And because it doesn't have anything else to do, it will soon jump over there to do some base construction. Where is our... I definitely have one. Hang on, where is he? Construction ship. There you go. Oh, you're currently retrofitting. That's what you're doing. So he's currently in the station. He's retrofitting, so he'll have the skip drive. And we've got a couple being constructed as well. So far, so good. And we should find, as we go around the solar system, you can see our exploration ships now travelling out and surveying different systems, or different planets, sorry. So we're finding additional resources. So we found Icarus meat here, so that's good. So we will definitely build a mining station there. Or in fact, you know what? No, we're not going to do that yet, because what we need things like silicon, we need polymer, and we need those because we need those to construct mining stations. If we don't have those resources, eventually we'll run out of them, and then we ain't building any more mining stations. Okay, this is perfect. So at Verdaneth 5, we found polymers, so we definitely want those. So we'll grab that right away. If we can find silicon, steel, and Melba. What's the other one we need? There's a few that we need pretty desperately. Mebnar, that's what we need. Mebnar, silicon. Those are the sort of key ones. We've also found some ancient Haakonish exploration ship hull. Where is it? Verdaneth 4. Yes, we'll investigate. Our explorers have scented a remarkable discovery. Hidden deep underground on Verdaneth 4 is the outer hull of what we believe to be an ancient spacecraft. What is it? Where did it come from? Is it something alien and unfathomable, which might somehow harm or corrupt our people? The unknown is always repulsive, and yet perhaps there is something to be learned from this wreckage. Retrieving this artifact intact will neither be easy nor inexpensive, but as the old saying goes, sometimes you must spend credits to make credits. A safer course, however, might be to scrap it, using its constituent parts to further our own exploration efforts. Now, we currently have 2,000. I am going to say, yes, let's repair it. It's going to cost us 10, which is going to put us in the red, but that's fine. With diligence, patience, and meticulous planning, our brilliant engineers have managed to dislodge this ship from the rocky vault that encased it these long centuries. The evidence now confirms our suspicions. The ship was indeed designed by and for ancient Haakonish explorers. Legends tell of a glorious Haakonish trade empire that once spanned the stars, and surely this is proof. Fragmentary logs are written in a language that is difficult to understand, likely a form of ancient Haakonish. Our scientists were able to glean that this ship has already visited several other locations in the system in search for a safe haven. Quite interesting, but also disturbing. A safe haven from what? What is out there in the vast expanse of space? We must assume anything we encounter is a threat. We found some technology that's advanced our understanding of stable warp fields and a source of polymer. Bit of a win that. We do need polymer, and now we have 2 sources of the stuff. So that's good. So we'll grab that as well. So you can... There is a storyline. So the story is that basically there was sort of galactic empires, and at some point something went horribly wrong. There was a cataclysm. There was a great war between the insectoid races of the galaxy and the Freedom Alliance, and at some point some super weapon was used that basically devastated the entire galaxy and caused a huge amount of issues, and basically you are sort of the survivors of that. several centuries later, and you finally crawled out of the wreckage and are trying to once again secure your place in the stars. And of course, there's plenty of ruins and derelicts drifting around that you can use to sort of try and understand what happened, and basically tells you a story, which is quite fun. Okay, we've got... Oh no, we've had a critical research failure. So that means some of the research we had towards research labs has disappeared, which is a bit of a bugger. Never mind. We have... So, if we have a look at this... So we've actually found... So this is the ancient Haakonish exploration ship. So this is the ship that we dug up. And if we have a look at this ship and what components it comprises, you can see that actually some of this stuff is really, really good. It's already got a very advanced hyperdrive. It's got a damage control unit. It's got much better engines. It's also a bigger ship than our normal explorers, so it's more advanced. And it also has heavy armor, much better shields. It's got actual decent sensors on it as well. So this is a much better ship than the ones that we can currently construct. And what we can do is we can send a construction ship to basically repair it. And you can find various derelicts hanging around space. They're normally hidden away, but sometimes you can find some really strong ones. So, for example, I found early on, I found a cruiser, which had about a 1,500 combat strength. Now, considering that if I were to build an escort at this point in time, it would have a combat strength of about 14. So, do the maths on that one. So we've constructed a mining station. This is very good because it's going to start accumulating these resources. So you can see here the cargo is now increasing. So this is the resources being mined from the planet. The percentages are how easy they are to mine. So for example, if it's 100%, then we'll get the 100% of the resources per tick, I guess. And if it's 50%, then we'll only get half that. Yeah, we will investigate that ship. That's fine. Good. Just so far, so good. Basically, if we can repair that, then that ship has a much better... So that ship is going to be able to travel far. It's going to be able to survey very quickly. It's going to be a huge boon to us. If we have a look at the greater galaxy, now we can see the nebulas sort of spaced out here. This is kind of blocking our access to that sort of inner ring, which is fine. It's also going to protect us as well. And we've got some planets, we've got some systems near us, which is quite useful. So once we've researched the next level of hyperdrive, be able to sort of explore those systems and find the resources therein, which will be quite useful. What else do we have here? Anything useful? Oh, we got... So, some asteroids here. So they're being surveyed. They can often have some decent resources. Things like steel and mebnar often in those asteroid belts. We've also got a bit of mebnar on... Is this actually been... Oh, this hasn't been explored. So exploring that would be quite useful. Mining stations, if built around an asteroid, will accumulate resources from around them, so they kind of an area. So, for example, if we have a 10% here, 10% there, 10%, you can actually make quite a lot of resources from building a mining station because it will pick up everything from around it. We've also found an ancient colony ship at Denia. Let's investigate. We've discovered an ancient spacecraft on Denia. This vessel is an advanced design, but in very poor shape. Our survey suggests there are only portions of the ship intact, yet some of the fragments are larger than the earlier derelict ship we discovered. Is it Haakonish or alien? Is this perhaps the remnants of an ancient invasion fleet? And if such an invasion was attempted, could it happen again? Whatever this ship contains could be interesting and valuable, and yet the knowledge of an advanced and threatening alien species could agitate the population. Already there are rumours circulating of discovery, and they will be difficult to silence. Yeah, let's invest. Our archaeologists and engineers have applied themselves to uncovering the crashed vessel. The discoveries are equal parts troubling and intriguing. The wreckage appears to be a colony ship carrying tens of thousands of Haakonish settlers heading to the system. It clearly did not make it, although we must assume others did, or there would be no Haakonish civilization in Verdenath. The ancient language of these logs and their damaged condition presents obstacles to interpretation, but it is clear that these Haakonish were fleeing hostile aliens and a galaxy-spanning cataclysm of some sort. What could have been so terrible that it would drive these Haakonish away from their homes and businesses and into the unknown? Is that danger still out there? The discovery of this lost ship has caused great concern on the homeworld. Many doubt that this makes financial sense to venture out into the unknown, where we might encounter the very dangers and uncertainty that we now know our ancestors fled. Still, we cannot vomit up knowledge the way we would an unsatisfactory meal. We made our choice, and now we will have to learn how to profit from it. And that profiting has already begun. We have gained significant knowledge of colonization technology from the wreckage of the ship. More than that, we have discovered a curious artifact which will aid us with the trade should we encounter any inevitably inferior aliens. Well, there we go. So, we found silicon? We have found silicon. Perfect. Where is that? A mysterious object encountered. Oh. Strange debris looks to be biological in origin and very old. Its appearance matches ancient descriptions of terrifying space monsters. Oh yes, a Gravelex carcass. You gonna find anything? We found, Clan of Superiority. We've encountered a new pirate faction in Verdenath system, the Clan of Superiority. The pirate faction is predominantly composed of Haakonish, the same as our empire. Although they are pirates, they could prove useful allies if handled properly. So, pirates will be hanging around the galaxy, and early on, they will basically extort us. Pirate encounter. May pleasing odours fill your nostrils, lost siblings. We see you have unshackled yourselves from a life of gravity and unfiltered air. We are the Clan of Superiority. Once we were soil pounders. No, I very rarely pound soil, just FYI. It's not my thing. But now we are free. Our ancestors were early off-world miners who stumbled upon some ancient shipnet technology that allowed us to leave our home system and the limiting tether of land and sky. Your inferiors still cling to the old ways. The Clan of Superiority is unbound and prosperous. Still, you are Haakonish, and not unlike us, we will consider trading with you if you're willing to invest in our mutual prosperity. It is an opportunity you should not miss. If you reject us, you are not Haakonish, but rather filth to be expelled into the vacuum, and we will not countenance your presence in our space. Good to know. They offer us protection. We'll accept that because, of course, we are. The news of the Haakonish space dwellers has caused confusion and anxiety on the homeworld. They were once Haakonish, once like us, but they have become something strange and uncanny. Something alien. It is disturbing, and yet they know things we do not, have developed technology that is unfamiliar to us, and they speak of trade and opportunities. So the Haakonish heart still beats within their chest cavities. A closer relationship with them will make our people unhappy, yet the only alternative appears to be war. Now, we don't have 20k, but I think we're going to have to take it. A wise investment, which is proof of your true Haakonish nature. We are proud to call you siblings. Speak to our merchants about purchasing fashionable licensed Clan of Superiority apparel. We will share with you some of what we have learned in our travels, and our commerce shall be your commerce. The future looks prosperous, my siblings. We have found technology that advances our understanding of fast mining. Okay, so we've got fast mining technology, which is quite useful. And apparently we are looking at this corpse. Apparently there wasn't particularly anything interesting. There are space monsters out there. Oh, more space pirates. Lovely. Good. Yeah, okay. Yep, they're nerd cats. Yeah, we will accept that treaty, because otherwise they will start shooting at us, and we don't have any kind of defense fleet at this point. And there is their ship, and basically they will then sort of like bugger off because we're paying them money to, well, bugger off. Now, we are losing a lot of money at the moment. That should be fine, because once our private economy gets up and running, it should start supplying us with some income. That's the dream. We shall see if that turns out to be true. So yeah, a little bit later on, and we can see that money is not a problem. It should be said that your cash flow should really be looked at as more of sort of an indication of how you're doing, rather than a hard set and rule about what your actual money looks like. This is because you can get big bonuses from various different aspects. Things like trade, particular things like the private economy. So the private economy suddenly decides to retrofit or build a lot of freighters. That can give you a big boost of money because they pay you to construct their ships effectively. Obviously, they need the money in the private economy to be able to do that, but they will pay you that amount of money to be able to construct their new ships. Now, looking at some of these resources, list is looking pretty good. We've got various different resources there. We'll grab that and that and that. So basically, we'll queue up all of these. We now have several mining stations dotted around. You can see that we've got our mining ships and freighters sort of like dotted around the solar system, picking up our resources and bringing them back to Avril Lavigne, our home world. It said was Skater Boy, said see you later boy, wasn't good enough for him. Anyway, so so we're bringing those resources back to this, and that means we can now construct more ships, and also that means that we are getting paid. That's right, it's a big payday for us. Oh, you know what we should do is get basic space commerce and basic recreation systems and expanded civilian ships. Yes, we should do all of that. We'll definitely get the stable warp field to start off with. We've got the research labs now. We should also potentially look at any areas where we have places for additional research stations. So occasionally planets will have bonuses to particular research. For example, Verdanath 8 has 11% to industrial research, yes please, and Denna has engine research 5%. Some technologies can only be researched if you have a certain amount of research percentage in that particular type of research. For example, if you want to build battleships, maybe you need like 30% industrial research. That might be that you have 20% industrial research and 10% general research bonus. That'll count. But you need that 30% before you can research that technology. Scientists and leaders can also give you research bonuses. So for example, if we look at our scientist here, he already has 2% industrial research, so that will count as well. So if once we've got this industrial research here, we'll get 2% from our scientists. So that means we actually overall will have 13%. But as our scientist gets more skilled, that percentage will increase. And we also have a research bonus of 5%. All research is 5%, which means that actually that increases that as well. So already we're looking pretty good for research. It's not too bad. But obviously the more research stations we have, also the more research bonus we have for particular research. And also the faster we can research texts in general. So it's always important to have. And so here we are. We have researched the second type of hyperdrive. So we've got the warp bubble generator, and that has allowed our explorator ships to now start traveling beyond Verdanath. Yeah, that one. And so we are now exploring the galaxy at large. What will be out there waiting for us? I'll have to wait until next time. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.